This is Hot 97, hip hop gamer, the home of hip hop, got it locked every era, make your head know.
Hey, what is happening, everybody out there? This is Jakejames Lugo, senior editor here at thekoalition.com, and welcome to a brand new episode of TK Spotlight, where I bring on phenomenal individuals from throughout the gaming industry to talk a little bit about their work and the good that they've done through their crafts. So today's episode, this one is, we kind of, we've done this like a couple times, which is fun, which is cool. We're friends. We've hung out with each other plenty of times. We've been to many industry events, seen each other, hung out, played games, gone back and forth about gaming, for a whole bunch of different reasons, but he's still a good friend of mine. He's still a great dude. The one and only Gerard Williams, a.k.a. Hip Hop Gamer. My dude, welcome. How you been?
Yeah! That's how you do it, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been great, man. Just had a meeting earlier today with some people from Square Enix, which was very, very inspiring, very great. Then I filmed another episode of my show today that's gonna air on Hot 97 this coming Monday. So I'm just having a great time playing a whole bunch of new games. Gotta get up in that Frozen Wilds with the Horizon Zero Dawn. I gotta finish up. I gotta play that Need for Speed payback joint tonight. Just been grinding, man, playing games and making moves, man, making moves.
That's awesome. Yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit about everything. We're gonna talk a little bit about that stuff, as well as also Hot 97. We're gonna talk about a bunch of stuff. We're gonna do some old stuff, some new stuff, and some fun stuff. So
let's get it.
Let's start off with this, okay? You've been pretty much part of the gaming industry for a while now. You've been doing content on YouTube, on a variety of different platforms for a while. Like, I don't know the exact number of years, but it's going on about over 10 years now at this point. Am I correct?
Actually, we at the 10-year mark.
At the 10, so at the time mark.
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah, we at the 10-year mark because well, technically starting next year, which is like a month away. You know what I'm saying? It'll be coming up to the 10-year mark. So
yeah.
Yep.
There you go. About 10 years, being involved with gaming, doing content on gaming. So back then, because again, in all past conversations me and you have had, we've always talked about your humble beginnings. We talked about the stuff, your inspiration with your grandmother. We've talked about how you started off using a PlayStation Eye camera. We've talked about all that stuff. But one of the things I want to know now that you've gone through a bunch of different stuff and have been exposed to a variety of different aspects of the game industry, has a lot of your perspective on gaming changed? Not just, from the business aspect of it, but even as a fan, as a consumer, as someone that just loves games at this point?
Yeah, well, my perspective changed because I have a even more deeper appreciation for it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when I'm playing games, because I got a chance to build with developers for so long, in the industry and things of that nature, and learn more about how the games is made, so on and so forth. That's what blew me away. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, yo, I didn't know it took like 3 months just to model a car in Gran Turismo. You know what I'm saying? Or it took, for an artist to hand draw this thing for somebody to come in and animate it and stuff. So everything that I see on screen when I play the game, I just got a deeper appreciation for it, as a fan. And I think the respect that I have for the craft is what helped me to become better at what I do, just because of what I've been able to be exposed to being in the industry. So I think that's phenomenal.
Yeah, definitely. I can relate a little bit to that. I mean, you've obviously been doing it a lot longer than I have, by at least a good number, about 3 or 4 years at least. And I could still kind of relate to that, where you actually get more closer to the same people that built these games that you probably grew up with over a long period of time. And you get to see not only just the process from start to finish and, up to the point where a game launches, but even with just the personalities behind all that. Like you mentioned, the artists, the people that model the different characters, the people that come up with these stories. Even recently for me, I went to a Destiny event not too long ago, and I got to meet the people that wrote the story for Destiny, or Destiny 2 in this case. And that just totally changed my perspective on stuff. In this case, though, to kind of bounce off of that, has there ever been something that, over the years that you've finally been able to kind of do, or at least, put yourself and be able to expose yourself to in relation to games that maybe when you first started out, you didn't get to do so before?
Well, one of my main things was I wanted this to be, what I do permanently, meaning that, I don't want to have a day job, you know what I'm saying, and then have to come home and then follow my passion. I want every day to be what I do. You understand what I'm saying? So one of my goals, was that, and I accomplished that. You know what I'm saying? June 3rd, 2016 was my last day of ever needing a day job. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, no 9 to 5. So, this is what I do. I work for me. I have incredible partners that I, build with. and it's been amazing. So to me, I think you know, when you're able to truly live your passion, it is one of the most phenomenal, amazing feelings in the world, of just the gratitude that people out there value your opinion and they value your passion so much that it can actually be worth, you know, dollars and cents at the end of the day to an industry that I love. So that's one of the main things I really wanted to accomplish once I realized it could be done, and I did it, and I got more to do. But I think that's one of the most amazing things that I've managed to accomplish over time. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that I didn't foresee before. Like, even Torrance will tell you, because he's the one who got me out here at E3 in 2008.
True.
And I kept telling Torrance, like, you know, I don't know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was back in the day where, you know, I did have a little doubt, you know, against myself. But the following year, you know, had my own team, and I was, you know, leading the charge instead of having to, you know, follow behind Torrance. Torrance taught me a lot, and I took it and ran with it. And now Hip Hop Gamer is a real like name and a real brand within the industry and beyond. So I'm floored by that.
Yeah, it's something to be proud of. And again, that's come over time. It's come with a lot of hard work. Because again, I've seen it. You know, having been in different places with you at a variety of different times and events like E3, PAX, PSX, even, like, just I've seen that happen over time, and it's something incredibly to be proud of, because obviously you still got a lot more bigger things to do. Again, we got plenty of years left in us. We're not leaving this earth anytime soon. So there's a lot more games, a lot more trophies to earn over time. But
absolutely,
one thing that's interesting, and I'm curious to know your thoughts on it, because I've asked this a couple times on other guests I've had on the show, about people, now that you've been in the game for almost about 10 years at that dime year point, there's obviously a lot of new up-and-comers that are out there that are probably on YouTube on the grind, or probably using social media like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, etc., you know, that want to be part of the industry, or at least, you know, make their own path and make their own waves in their industry and such. What is one thing that you feel like, you know, they need to know, or one thing that you feel like they need to really kind of change up in order to get to the level or get to the point and the emotion that you're feeling right now?
Well, the first thing is they got to be, well, if you want to be a part of this industry, know what you want out of it. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's the first thing. Like, if you got a passion for it, that's great, but know what you want, because the more you know what you want, and the more you know the goals that you're trying to achieve, then and only then you can begin the execution process of achieving the actual goals that you set in front of you. So that's the first thing, knowing your goal, you know, knowing what you want out of it. That's one. Two, have fun. Like, period. Like, enjoy the process. Like, the good things, the bad things, everything that come along with the grind, enjoy it, learn from it, you know, and embrace it. You know what I'm saying? That, have fun even with failure. Have fun with the failure. Like, learn from it, have fun, and be that much more creative, and be that much more in the zone for your career path, so you could take it somewhere. I mean, truly take it somewhere. So that's the second thing that I would say. The third thing is, you know, don't doubt yourself. Like, don't look at somebody else and be like, oh, you know, they accomplished so much, I'm a nobody. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't ever look at yourself as a nobody compared to somebody that's been doing it for a long time. Nah, you know, everybody.
Don't sell yourself short.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't sell yourself short. Like, I feel like a lot of people is trying to run other people's races. You know what I'm saying? Nah, like, your time frame and your destination may be different from the next man or the next girl, and that's fine. You know what I'm saying? Just run your race. Stay in your own lane and make something amazing with it. So, to the point where you don't got to always go to everybody else. You create a scenario and you create an aura where everybody wants to come to you. You understand what I'm saying? So those are the three main things that I would tell any newcomer. Have fun in the process. Know what you want so you could be able to execute it, and eliminate self-doubt. Know that you're great in your own right, and live your greatness.
I agree. I think that's something that everybody could at least, you know, take that food for thought and adapt it to any industry, not just the gaming industry, because obviously we're in gaming, we're in games media or games journalists, etc. But like you could adapt that same level of logic to the music industry. You could adapt it to the film industry. You could even adapt it even to just YouTube. And speaking of YouTube, because I'm curious at your thoughts on this, because I've had a lot of ebbs and flows with YouTube, you know, just new media, content creators, YouTubers, vloggers, etc., that are part or at least an intricate aspect of gaming at this point. And it's been for better or worse. Do you feel like, you know, now that, you know, there's a lot more people trying to get involved with gaming, or at least, you know, being a part of gaming in many different aspects, do you think things are kind of like overflowing at this point, maybe even for the worse?
That's a great question. Like, so what I would say is, you know, a lot of the stuff that's happening on YouTube, you know, sometimes there's people out there that will probably like make certain content specifically just to piss people off because they know they get attention that way, and then or sometimes people would try to be somebody that they not because they're trying to follow a trendy pattern, so it gets oversaturated. You understand what I'm saying? So to me, I feel like there's a lack of identity within the people that's on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's just a rinse and repeat with a new face on it. So I think that once people start to be comfortable with their own identity and what they bring to the table on YouTube or whatever platform they're on, then we will see a better version and a better way to grow the community when it comes to reviews or whatever. Like, for example, I'll give you an example, right?
Yeah.
So the Xbox One X, right? You know, that just came out, right?
Just dropped.
And that joint just dropped, and they had like a lot of people doing reviews on it. Now, like Engadget, I forgot the dude's name that did the review on Engadget, but his review was poor as shit. Like, his joint was horrible. Like,
Why is that quickly?
His review was horrible because his review wasn't a review of the Xbox One. It was pretty much a comparison on the PlayStation 4. Like, even in the shot, he was talking so much about PlayStation 4 Pro in the Xbox One review. It was like, is this review? Then at the end of the review, he said the PS4 is a better choice. Like, what are you talking about?
He wasn't focusing on the system.
Yeah, son, the joint was so poor. But then you got this other dude named Kevin something, and his review was incredible. He didn't mention PlayStation 4 Pro not once. It was all about the Xbox One review. That's like if I invite you to listen to my album at a listening party. Like, I don't want to hear nothing about Kendrick Lamar or J. Cole. Like, you here to hear my joint, and I want to get your thoughts and opinions on my joint. It has nothing to do with nobody else. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like, you know, that's where things is headed, man. Everybody is trying to either capitalize on the outlet that they work for and have their own little hidden agendas. Like, a lot of stuff ain't really real no more. It's more playing towards a stereotype or a trend or an agenda, as opposed to just being real talk for the gamers, like how we having right now on your show. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm starting to see. You know what I'm saying? So for the good, I think it gives you a platform to create and carve out your identity, like how I did. But for the bad, it's like a cesspool full of BS that people could just you know what I'm saying? Everybody just want to be a part of what's cool instead of being who they are.
I agree.
So that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I agree. And here, to kind of bounce off of that even further, and this is something I've been wanting to ask you and a couple other people, because I've had a weird experience over the last couple months in relation to like people that identify as content creators, people that are YouTubers, new media, people like streamers and stuff that aren't considered traditional journalists, traditional media. You know, the people that are part of a website, part of an outlet, or just, you know, going to events under the outlet that, you know, that they're freelancing for and stuff. And one of the things that I thought was weird that I've experienced on social media a couple times is that the word games journalist or just the idea of being a games journalist or identifying as a games journalist has become almost a derogatory thing. And I think it's a terrible thing to happen. And I've experienced it where I've gotten into some little arguments here and there where as an insult, you know, or at least as a point of like, you know, discrediting somebody, they'll say like, oh, this person is a games journalist that can't take criticism, or this person is a games journalist and I'm getting triggered by what he says or whatever. And, you know, the list goes on. Do you feel like, you know, over the last like year or so, that's become a thing, or that's like something that's like, you know, starting to appear that's a really bad thing for the gaming industry as a whole, or for everybody that's in it?
Well, I mean, of course, always going to be a bad thing when something that you are associated with from a professional standpoint gets treated as something derogatory. But the only reason why it's treated like something derogatory is because a lot of the people, whether it's IGN or GameSpot or any of these like major, funded platforms and stuff like that, money, because of the money involved with these companies, people associate that with credibility, and they associate that with validity because there's a lot of money and stuff involved. Like if you look at Polygon, Microsoft invested close to $1 million in that site for it to be up and running. So when you look at that fact alone, whoever works at Polygon will be considered someone that's credible. When in reality, a lot of the stuff that they do is horrible. Like it's bullshit. Like, you know what I'm saying? And the thing is, like, when you have people that recognize that it's not all of that, then they're going to look at the criteria that they under, which is games journalists. And if this is what's considered a games journalist nowadays, then how can I respect it? You got people on YouTube right now that's not considered game journalists that could break down and analyze things in a better professional manner than the people that you thought was the so-called professionals. So I understand where that term comes from, and I understand where the derogatory feel comes from as well. Because you got, for example, you got certain games journalists that will publicly, openly admit that they don't even like what they do. Or you got certain people that's journalists that don't even play games, but because they are good at journalism, they just got a job in the game industry. And most people in games journalism treat it as a job, when in reality, this is supposed to be something that's a passion project. Like, you don't work hard to go to the NFL, or you don't work hard to go to the NBA, and you look at it as a job. This is something that this is your life. You spent your whole life trying to go to the NBA and work on your craft and blah, blah, blah. So it's the same thing with games. It's a lifestyle. Like, you don't wake up in the morning and say, hey, I want to be a games journalist. Nah, like, this is something that happens to you because it becomes a part of your lifestyle. And most people, their lifestyle isn't with gaming at all. They just got a degree in journalism, so when they apply for the job, their resume look pretty. So they get the job. So it gives a games journalist a bad name once people like that get exposed more. It only take one or two situations to stain the whole majority of people that's really trying to do it from the heart.
I agree. I agree.
So,
I think it gets more also where that it becomes an instance where a lot of people paint a very broad stroke over everybody like that. And it's like me, because obviously me and you can relate, and others that we've known in the industry can relate, that we really work hard and we're passionate and we're proud,
absolutely,
of ourselves games journalists and being part of, the process and everything else that goes along with the industry and stuff. And it sucks that when you see something happen in like a far other like place and stuff, that all of a sudden becomes associated with you. That's what I found like what was happening to me even over the last like couple of months, where I see like, different things happen at other locations, and all of a sudden, just because I call myself a games journalist, automatically that's what they assume, like that's what it's all about.
Well, that's just like how stereotypes work. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, all black people don't sell drugs. Like, what, you know what I'm saying? What the hell? Like like all white people aren't racist. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, come on. So my thing is, you know how they say one bad apple spoils a bunch?
Yeah.
Like, to me, I don't look at it like that. If you got one bad apple, get rid of that shit. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
like you got one bad apple, get rid of that shit, so the clean shit could be good. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna get rid of the bunch. Like, motherfucker, I'm hungry. Like, you know what I'm saying? I need to eat. So, like, if there's one bad apple, get rid of that apple and keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? The problem is, nowadays everybody's so sensitive, and they worry and got a fear of what other people gonna think, and they worry about certain business deals that they got, and they don't want to rub people the wrong way. Let me tell you something right now, man, and I've always been this way. I'm all about right and wrong. You know what I'm saying? I put God first in Jesus' name. That's how I do. And I'm all about right and wrong. If you're a good person and you do your best to do right, and you positive and you got a good spirit, then you on my side always. If you're a negative person and you got nothing but hate in your heart, I'm gonna always pray for you. I love you, but I have to keep my distance because I can't allow you to affect the love that I'm trying to bring. You understand what I'm saying? And that's pretty much the bottom line. And people don't want to risk anything no more. You know what I'm saying? Like people, like they scared of everything nowadays. Nobody want to fight for nothing. Everybody is, it's horrible. You know what I mean? So to me, I speak up. I say what I want to say, and I don't care. And at the same time, I got sponsors too. I got, people that I work with, that I got partnerships with, and they ain't never changed me because they know what I'm about, and they know that whatever I do, my heart is in the right place when I do it. So it's like, if you stand for nothing, you're going to fall for anything. You know what I mean? That's an old quote, but it's a true quote.
You got to be genuine, bottom line.
Absolutely.
I mean, you got to be genuine with anything that you do or in any industry that you're part of. I think I also, as a good way to round off this point before we switch gears, is that I find this also as a thing mostly where it's usually old media versus new media. And that's like a tried and true old like debate that's been around in our industry for quite some time. It's usually because a lot of people are always saying like, a lot of the animosity comes from change, where people and more individuals are starting to come into the industry because of things like YouTube, because of things like Twitch, because of things like even like Periscope or even Facebook video that have, allowed people to put opinions and stuff out there that have become either challenging or like an alternate kind of like opinion that people could go to outside of like what's already been established for the longest period of time. Even though I understand like change is a thing that's always going to be, something that you really can't stop and stuff. I sometimes find it is where people are trying to punch up. And I feel like they usually do it like, it almost becomes like a bandwagon thing to take a shot at the bigger websites. And I don't mean that as like everybody, because, everybody has their own opinion. There's nothing wrong with that. But I do find a lot of instances, especially on places like YouTube, especially on places like Twitch, where because the idea and the fad is to be different, to be the alternative like that, that's what it's almost acceptable to them. And I always felt like there should be like a real big problem with that.
Well, for me, I put it like this. I'm going to just keep it 100. Like, I was the change in the industry. Like, I started all of that, like, defiant shit, like, going after what the status quo. I started all of that.
I think you were the first person that I know of, like, even back then when you first started out, was someone that was, like, not just your persona and the way that you portrayed yourself on camera, but also in just the way that you went about the process and the thought and the way that you talked about games, as opposed to a lot of other people. I think at the time, there was only, like, Angry Video Game Nerd, there was Nostalgia Critic, there was maybe a couple other people.
Yeah, but, like, see, the difference with me, especially me being black and just talking the way I talk, because I don't sound like nobody or look like anybody else in the industry and all this other stuff, it's one of those situations where I'm the first one to truly start saying the things that was on other people's minds and they was afraid to say it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I really started that. And then, like, and to prove that is, like, I was like on the front page of N4G literally every day for like 2 years straight.
I remember that.
And why you think I got banned? The reason why I got banned is because too much of the truth will ruin the people that's actually fake in the positions that they're in. See, the thing is, what I did was I revealed and exposed that a lot of people that people thought was really great at what they did or really amazing, they wasn't really as good as you thought they was. You know what I'm saying? And I changed that, and because I changed that, I became more of a problem to them, even though I'm doing the right thing.
You gave people the ability to question.
Yes, because nobody would question. Think about it right now, right? If you turn on TV and stuff like that, and if CNN and all these other major outlets say stuff, normally people wouldn't challenge it because it's on the news, it's on TV, they're in a big position, so they must be true. No, that's where most of the lies come from. You know what I'm saying? But nowadays, more people are starting to challenge and question everything. That's why you think, look at all the shit that's happening with Harvey Weinstein and all, like, rape cases and all the sex, like Hollywood. This ain't nothing new. It's just that people are finally getting rid of the fears that they once had, and they standing up against the people that once had all this power and all this other stuff. Because at the end of the day, people will get tired, man. And but see, with me, people didn't have to wait for me to get tired. I started my career like that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's why it was everybody was like, hip hop, who the hell? And I'm like, yeah, it's me. What's up? And
that in the belt. Come on, you got to admit.
Yeah, of course, the belt. Yeah, of course, the belt. People was like, they was like, yo, this is crazy. But at the end of the day, I stood up for the things that people wanted to stand up for, but didn't and couldn't. And you know what's so funny, Jake? Even like still to this day, people will come up to me and be like, "Yo, dude, like like it's because of you why such and such and blah 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 such and such." Like you don't understand, like. On camera, they would never say it because they don't want to lose their jobs or get in trouble. But behind the scenes, they'll come to me and be like, "Yo, son, like, yo, thank you for saying that, son, because it's crazy over here. Like, they be doing this, they be doing that." And I'm like, "Why don't you speak up about it?" Like, "Nah, son, I got mouths to feed. I can't say nothing, but I appreciate you." You understand what I'm saying? So I already know what it is since day one.
Definitely true. I remember all that as as time went on. Again, from when you really first started up until the point where we are now. Again, I saw able to see the transition, and it definitely there's a lot of parallels that I noticed between the gaming industry and a lot of other industries where those types of changes have been starting to become more fruitful now these days more than ever. So speaking of changes, speaking of like switching gears and stuff, let's talk a little bit about a lot of stuff that you've been doing now. Let's talk a little bit more about your work, as far as the Hip Hop Gamer Show, which was, a thing that you had on YouTube for a while. And then now you're doing stuff with Hot 97, probably one of the biggest, probably one of the most legendary hip hop stations in New York. At least, because again, even back then when I was still living in New York, I knew of Hot 97. Okay, it was Hot 97
absolutely.
And CD 101.9 for me when I used to live in New York.
So Hot 97. Not only is it the biggest, radio station in New York, for hip hop and R&B, but even digitally, what I'm saying, it's one of the biggest. Like I think right now we had 30 to 40 million monthly users just on the app, alone. And then when you got powerhouses like Ebro, Peter Rosenberg, Nessa, Funk Flex, and now myself coming into the fold, it's just, we on a whole nother power move right now. You know what I'm saying? Actually, shout out to Laura Styles and everybody, DJ Juanito. They out in Tokyo right now because we got summer jams in Tokyo. So we don't just got summer jams in New York. We got summer jams in Tokyo, and we working on doing the summer jams for Africa. So this is global, international, big business right now with Hot 97, so it's crazy. That's the first thing. Secondly, I have 3 shows now on Hot 97. So every Monday, We Got Game comes out. I recently had UFC champion Demetrius Johnson on that episode where we talked about the UFC 3. Also had him on another show that I got called The G Moment. And the G Moment is pretty much a show about the moment in your life where you felt like you was at your lowest and you felt like things couldn't get any worse.
I saw the one you did with John Cena recently.
Yeah, with John Cena, that was amazing too. So, but that's what the show is about. When you at your lowest and you feel like things can't get any worse, but you manage to find strength in that moment that allow you to become successful, today. Because those are the moments where you truly get tested to see what you really made of to become the man or become the woman that you were meant to be. So, and then another show that's going to air tomorrow is called Get Money Gamers, finishing up the editing process tonight. Cool. But it's called Get Money Gamers, and what that's about is teaching people how to make money and how to leave that 9-to-5 lifestyle, and also how gaming can enhance any part of anyone's business, whether you in real estate or whether you do hair or whether you're in the food business, whatever. Gaming can help enhance anybody's business, and because we're gamers, there's a lot of money to be made in gaming as well. So I talk about that, and I have different types of guests, come on the show and share their story and how they make money and, invest in, all types of things like that. So I hit so many areas on Hot 97, and just to be able to have 3 shows on Hot 97, all powered by Logitech, is insane.
So let me ask you this then. This is a perfect segue. Being part of Hot 97, or at least working in collaboration with them to do all those shows and do all that content going forward, what has it really allowed you to do that you probably couldn't do before you started doing stuff with Hot 97? Was there any like specific things that you wanted to go for that weren't necessarily within grasp or possible beforehand?
Well, yeah, like it was hard to when you're doing mostly everything by yourself, it's hard to execute when you're doing everything by yourself. So working with Hot 97 has allowed me to utilize the leverage of the brand and what that brand represents and the power in it. It allowed me to leverage things with other companies to make business deals and brand deals happen that will enable me to have the shows that I have and the production value that I have, and so on and so forth. And then what that also does is the recognition and the awareness of me as a personality and a brand and so on and so forth. It allows me to do bigger deals and make bigger moves, and it also puts me in places where I probably wasn't invited to be before.
True.
Like, you know, understand what I'm saying? So it opens a lot of doors, just having the relationship and things of that nature. But also it allows me to show my worth and my value, because even though Hot 97 has done so much for me, I've done so much for Hot 97 simply because Hot 97 was already number one in what they did. So because they're already number one, there's really no room for growth in their respective fields. So they had to find somewhere else to be able to dominate and become number one in. So right now we're in the process of being the number one and pretty much only station that does gaming on a high level, that got partnerships like Elijah Tech on this high level. We're the only ones to do that, and that exists because of me. You understand? Yeah. So when I go to any other company, it could be the NBA or whatever, for me to be the reason why Hot 97 is growing even more in this tech world and be, you know, and stuff like that. I think that's amazing. And, you know, also I want to give a shout out to my boy Tat Wizard, Hot in Tech, because he does tech on Hot 97 as well. And that's my bro right there. I love him to death. You know what I'm saying? So, and, you know, with saying that, it's just another opportunity for Hot 97 to grow and show my value and show my worth while being there. So it's not one-sided. That's why it's a partnership, because, you know, you want to be able to be in a position where you want to bring something to the table so you could be looked at as an equal, you know, as well. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it's just like how 50 Cent, like, looked at it when he signed with Eminem and Dr. Dre. He didn't just want to be another artist under Aftermath, Shady Aftermath. He wanted to be looked at as an equal, and in order to do that, you had to create some sort of partnership within that business deal so that he could be his own man and still collectively, collaboratively work with them and make an impact. So people going forward could say, wow, 50 Cent did this, instead of saying the only reason why 50 Cent was able to do this because of Eminem. Like, you know, you don't want that stigma. True. So, yeah, so in my situation, Hip Hop Gamer is a very, very strong brand name, and is definitely a person that anyone should be involved with if you want to get further in what you want to do.
So with that being said, then, I mean, because you mentioned like going, or at least doing different things. Like, for example, I know recently you were posting up some stuff about a UFC event that happened in New York City, I believe it was. And you have even mentioned now the NBA. I mean, are there different like places, you know, now that you're doing stuff with Hot 97, you're doing all these shows and you're getting put out there and being put in places that weren't possible before? Were there any specific goals or specific spots that you wanted to go towards, or at least, you know, be able to use or at least work with a place like Hot 97 to bring gaming towards, or at least, you know, get involved with gaming and stuff that wasn't possible before? Like, is there any like big one kind of like thing that you're kind of aiming for now at this point that would be like a huge score for you?
Yeah, well, right now, well, the deal with Hot 97, that was one of my scores that I wanted to do. True. And I'm doing it. So that was one of them. My next one is hosting events. And when I mean hosting events, like, I want to take games journalism into pop culture as well. Like, I want to be able to say, I want to host the Grammys. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I would love to host, you know, BET Hip Hop Awards. Like, you know what I'm saying? I would love to host, you know, Jeff Keighley's Game Awards. Like, you know what I'm saying? It be one of the people that, you know, either give out an award or associate with the media. You know what I'm saying? What I will say that I can't speak on too much, but next year at E3, you might see me with a major company doing the media for them. And when I mean a major company, I'm talking about one of the companies that actually have E3 conferences. You understand what I'm saying? Let me ask you this then. So that's one of the things I want to do.
Let me ask you this real quickly then. Sorry to interrupt, but like, you mentioned that you want to take game journalism into the pop culture stuff, but isn't technically gaming now at this point already into the pop culture? I mean, we have a lot of different people out there that have millions of followers. I mean, besides the obvious that are out there, like the PewDiePies, like the Markipliers, like the MatPats of the world, that have millions upon millions of people that follow them, isn't gaming at this point already in the mainstream then at that point?
Gaming is in the mainstream, but gaming personalities, like in terms of like, I'll give you an example of what I mean, right? Like, if you look at a games journalist, you know what I'm saying, or if you look at someone like a Jeff Keighley or whatever, like, you know, they not big like a Jay-Z. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're not big.
They're not Jay-Z,
you know,
big.
Yeah, they're not Jay-Z big. They're not 50 Cent big. They're not, you know, Wu-Tang big.
They're not celeb status.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? They're big in that field, but they're not big in general.
In the world.
You understand what I'm saying? So from what we do, I want to be the person that transcends beyond just the core field that we're in and make it a general thing. And working with Hot 97 is allowing me to get my footprint in that direction. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So if you think about it, between Hot 97, between Logitech, you know, and who I am, and then other things like the NBA, UFC, and all this other stuff, you're gonna see me everywhere. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, for real, you're gonna see me everywhere. I give you another example, right? You know, if you look at someone like a Wendy Williams, you know, she's a global brand name. Oprah, she's a global brand name. I want to be a global brand name like the Jay Leno's and the David Lettermans and the Jimmy Fallons of the world. When Jimmy Fallon is not even a gamer, but when he talked about games, the entire industry, you know, responded to what he said. Why? Because he's a global big brand name. So if Jeff Keighley says something about, you know, hip hop, ain't nobody gonna care. They gonna even know who that is. Like, it ain't gonna matter. You know what I mean? So I want to get to a situation where, like, when I speak in the gaming industry, it matters. I want that same feeling to matter in every other industry dealing with entertainment.
Do you think that if you, at one point, just sometime down the line in the future, if you're able to do that, if you're able to break through into all these different markets and become of that same type of status, like a Jay-Z or like a good one that I could think of right now would be like a Snoop Dogg, because Snoop Dogg has done gaming and he's been put out there stuff.
Yeah, he does it all. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay,
that's
so like if you get to that point, right? Okay, and that
not
somehow,
if, when. Not if,
when down the line, you know, whenever that happens, okay, do you feel like that's going to not only do something good and positive for the gaming industry, or do you feel like at that point you're going to be able to do more for the gaming industry that you feel like hasn't been done yet?
Yeah, I'm gonna do a lot more for the gaming industry. One of the things I want to change in the game industry is I want people to take more chances in the gaming industry. And what I mean by that, like, I want to see more Asian lead roles. I want to see more black lead roles, more black female lead roles. And what I mean by that, I'm talking about franchises. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you look at Uncharted, it started with Nathan Drake. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, Assassin's Creed Origins, in my opinion, is the best Assassin's Creed ever made. It's 99% black. They didn't whitewash it. It was real, true to Egypt. I loved it. It was dope. But if you notice, that's the only, out of all the Assassin's Creed games that came out, this is the only one where the main story of the game is a black guy. All the other ones wasn't. Like, you understand what I'm saying? So there's no franchise that's a AAA franchise that's led by a black protagonist,
a minority character,
and they also play the role of a hero. You know what I'm saying? There's none. True. That's a problem. Like, you know what I'm saying? And the thing is, it's done like that on purpose. Like, it's systematically done like that on purpose. So when I get in a position of power like that, I will be able to affect that change more.
Interesting.
So I'm on a mission, man. I'm on a mission. And the thing is, I'm one of those type of people that you're not going to be able to escape. Because I'm going to keep saying that shit until it changes. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to keep saying it. And because of my power and my influence, just like Colin Kaepernick turned the whole NFL upside down, I'm gonna make sure that my power and my effectiveness will be used in a powerful, positive way to create fairness and change and stuff like that. Because honestly, I don't like what I see when it comes to that, and it needs to change.
I feel you. I could definitely see that. Again, some good points, at least some good, interesting perspective on there. So let's talk about opinions. Let's talk about perspective on games and stuff, because obviously you mentioned this earlier. You are pretty polarizing as an individual in the industry in one way or another. You've been able to not only be outspoken on places like Twitter, places like Instagram, etc., even Periscope, I believe, a few times, on Facebook Live, about your stances on certain aspects in the game industry, or just topics in gaming in general, overall. You even had a couple clashes here and there with different individuals, and differences in opinions and stuff. Even me, unfortunately. Like, which, but
anybody could get it. I go ahead. I mean, and that just goes to show that it's never anything personal against the person. We're just having a debate or or talk on the situation at hand based on what we feel and our opinions, and it's all because we're passionate about what it is. But like, if you don't have these conversations, see, here's what I don't like. I don't like people that talk so much crap. They talk a whole bunch of shit,
Like
but then the
people?
moments, like, no. I don't get into that whole thing. Ain't nobody attacking nobody. If you get attacked, that means you got a black eye. If you ain't got no black eye, you ain't get attacked. Like, I don't like when they be using those words like attack.
Like insulting
nobody even touch
somebody.
you. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? If you feel insulted, so what? You know what I'm saying? Get your sensitive ass out of here. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, like, the point I'm trying to make is, like, what I don't like is if a person, they voice their opinion, they say something, and then don't expect anybody to, like, say anything back or challenge them because they work for a certain company, so we're the authority, we're the law.
Just
you don't
accepting
speak. Yeah, just accept it because I said it. Like, you talking to the wrong person, because I will annihilate everybody. Like, period. Like,
Well, that's one thing I can't say about you, even in the times where me and you have disagreed, because we've disagreed a bunch of times on a bunch of random stuff. But one
Hell
thing that
yeah.
I will admit, and I think it's not as prevalent as it should be in our industry, is that you never really disagreed with someone and then really kind of put down their character or put their character into question. Usually that I've seen, and only a couple other individuals in the industry that I've seen, when there's an exchange of ideas and they just have different stances on stuff, they're not actively trying to bring down or break down the other person. And I think that's a big problem now these days, especially with social media and especially within the gaming industry, that I see from a lot of people that feel like they're trying to just exchange ideas, but what they're really doing is going after the other person as opposed to just like having that discussion there.
yeah, well, like I said, like, it's never personal. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's never personal at all. Like, like, everybody that knows me know how I am. You know what I'm saying? When you meet me, you have no choice but to love me. It's a law. Like, you gotta love me. I'm one of the nicest people on the face of the earth. I'm led by love. I wear my heart on my sleeve. My passion is driven by my grandma. I love everybody. Like, you know what I'm saying? At the same time, just because I got love for you doesn't mean I ain't gonna, destroy you when it's time to, when it comes to a debate or something like that. Shoot, LeBron got love for Kyrie Irving, but when they on that court and they playing against each other, he's trying to destroy him for that 48 minutes. Like, you understand what I'm saying? So that's just being professional too. So anybody that do take it personal and stuff like that, then you need to get out of this space, because I'm gonna hurt your feelings very hard.
Let me ask you, do you feel like sometimes that misunderstanding or that lack of communication, or even just those emotions that linger around on places like social media, do you think that kind of kills the potential for a lot of collaborations between people in and out of the industry?
Yep. Yo, I'm gonna tell you straight up, man. I do want to name names, because you know how I get down, but out of respect for the person, because they didn't want me to name their name, I'll leave their name out of it, out of respect for that person.
Cool.
Because we friends. But a dude in the industry told me that, especially the way it used to be, if you worked for IGN, you couldn't even talk to people over at GameSpot. Or if you worked for GameSpot, you couldn't talk to people at Kotaku. Like, if you was caught associating with them, like, it could mean
That was a real thing. I remember hearing about stuff like that.
Yep. That could be your termination papers. So at the end of the day, what type of bullshit is that? Like I don't like when people try to bully you. Now, and here's my thing on this whole bullying thing.
Yeah.
Like, the only way somebody could bully you is if you carry yourself in a weak manner. Think about it, nobody could ever bully me. So why is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, you could look, N4G, they banned me. Did it stop me? No. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on. Like people always try to, like, point fingers and blame other people, but never want to look at themselves and see what they could do different to make the change. You know what I'm saying? So I don't look at it, like that at all. I just look at it from a standpoint of, look, if you can't handle having a conversation in an open forum, then how good are you really? That's why I call out everybody. And that's another reason why I say I'm the best. And the reason why I say I'm the best is because, like, I mean, obviously my resume speaks for itself, but, I got heart, man. You know what I'm saying, Jay? Like, I really, really got passion and a care.
I know. I've been
for
around
the industry
you. I've
and the
been around
people
you
in
a long
it.
time.
Like,
I've
yeah,
seen
you
it.
know how I get down. So what bothers me in the industry is when I see people they get all sensitive and they say this and say that, and they don't want to work with you. They don't want to do nothing. So you're more a part of a problem as opposed to being part of the solution. But you would never let the world know how you really are because you trying to hide who you are to collect a paycheck. So you speak when you know you got other people on your side to speak with you, but you never willing to stand alone and have the whole world against you. If you believe in something, you a sucker. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I don't rock with people that do that, because those type of people that like they around when it's convenient, but the moment there's a problem, they want to go and hide to stay protected.
You mean
Get out
they
of
just
here,
want
man.
opportunities? Like I've run into people like that in the industry here and there, and even online. You know, not just industry people like, you know, traditional media. Some YouTubers, which I always was confused about stuff like that, because there a lot of people, and I think everybody in some form or fashion talks about stuff like this, and like they don't like that, they don't want to be a part of it. But then there's a large group of people that just end up doing that anyway. Like I had one person one time throw their accomplishments in my face when I just asked them to be on a podcast. Like they literally just ran.
Oh wow!
They ran. I'm not
Yo,
even kidding.
Can you name that? Can you name their names?
I'll tell you later, because I can't name their names, because otherwise it'd be a straight up fight. But
Okay.
bottom line, you know, long story short, I wanted to invite them on a podcast because I wanted to have a cool discussion with them. This was way before I created TK Spotlight, and instead of you know doing like what you're normally supposed to do, tell them no, or like, hey, I don't got no time right now, maybe another time, you know, casually decline. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with not working with people. What is a problem though is when you actively try to put down the other person, and in their case, they tried to take all their accomplishments and their portfolio and body of work and say that they were doing my job for over 10 years already, and that's why they didn't want to work with me, and that it was a waste of time to be associated with me. And I was like, huh, that's not cool.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this right now. And this is, please, everybody that's listening to this podcast, please, like, listen to what I'm about to say.
Everybody listening.
Okay, look, I don't care if you're a homeless person on the street or wherever. You never know where your blessing will come from. Like, you could, the janitor at a store, like, I mean, at a school, could be Snoop Dogg's cousin.
True.
and he could have been a person that gave you your break, but you treated him like shit because he's a janitor. And you're a CEO of a company, and you're trying to make this deal, and a janitor was the gateway to the deal you're trying to do. Never look at somebody's position and think the position defines who they are. Because you got CEOs that don't know shit. They were just put there because it's a family business, but they don't know what the hell they're doing. And the people that do know what the hell they're doing is behind the scenes making that CEO look better than what they actually are. You never know what's truly going on. So treat people the way you want to be treated.
With respect.
And, you know, with respect and love and care. And also, never underestimate anybody. You know what I'm saying? Anybody. Never underestimate anybody. I don't care if you only get 2 views on this podcast. 1 is more than 0. And you never know what that 1 view or that second view would do in your life. That's why, think about this. My channel is nowhere near as big as certain other people's channels.
Yeah.
But I done had Kevin Hart on my show. I done had Angela Bassett.
Jackson, I think one time.
I had Samuel L. Jackson, John Cena. I had all these people on my show. You understand what I'm saying? So what does that tell you? I got 3 shows on. I got all this other stuff happening in Jesus' name because he allowed it to happen. But what I'm saying is, people would look at you and be like, but then they see what you're doing. They're like, well, how did he do that? Because they associate you with like numbers, blah blah blah. Dude, it's me. The value is within me. Because I was born, the individual. Who you are is the value. And because I value who I am, there's no one that can ever come to me like they're better than me or anything. I don't care if you President Obama. Shout out to Obama because I love Obama. I love what he do.
Obama, yeah.
But the point is, just because he's the president doesn't make him better than me, like, or anything. Like, you know what I'm saying? Everybody will be humbled at some point in time in their life, and a lot of times people get humbled after a severe loss. So, look, I don't have to go through that. 'Cause I know what life is about. Like, I know what loss is about. And I'm telling you, man, do not get discouraged. Don't let these people make you look like you're beneath them, because you're not. You ain't beneath nobody. Go out there and do shit and make it happen with no fear and no doubts. Go do your thing.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. Again, I relate, and I could kind of, again, feel the same way, and in a way where with my own work and my own like craft that I do my own stuff with, I'm always open to working with everybody. I'm always willing to be around everybody, because I think that it doesn't matter the following, the notoriety, or the credibility or credentials that you have, as long as you're willing to get together with other people to do dope stuff and make great stuff. That's how cool things are made and put out, and positive energy is put out into the world. That, think of it this way: if certain artists, in music, in the traditional arts, never came together, or at least, got so caught up on how many followers that they had at the time, we would have never gotten some of the best, duets or best collaborations we've had in history. I mean, I don't think Dr. Dre and Tupac would have ever worked together if they were all caught up on who was better. Yeah,
exactly.
Certain things like that, just to use a music reference in there. But here's the funny thing: you kind of messed up my question, because I was going to ask the final penultimate question here. Okay, as far as talking about a lot, culminating all the stuff that we've kind of spoken on today. Is there one thing or one specific thing outside of what you already said, because we're not going to let you cheat there, but one thing that you could tell everybody that you give to them, as they're listening to this show, as they're listening to this podcast and sharing it around with other people, what is one thing that you could tell them that you could give to them that you feel like they'll walk away out of this episode, like at least, as a better person or better individual with?
That's another great question. Well, one thing that I would say is, don't look at your winnings in your life as materialistic. And what I mean by that is, if you make a lot of money tomorrow, or if you get that deal that you was looking for, I know most people will look at that as like, yeah, I'm winning, son. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. That's the wrong way to look at life. The reason why that's the wrong way to look at life is because everything that you look at as a win and everything that you look at as value is based on what you have instead of based on who you are. So from the day you're born, from the day that you take your first ever breath, you've won already, because you was blessed to have an opportunity and a shot at life. So you already won. You just got to figure out what you want to do with your winnings. Do you want to use it for something good, or do you want to use it for something bad? And I'm pretty sure, and I hope, that everybody would choose to use it for good. So when you already know from day one that you are a winner and that you've already won, then the confidence level, the know-how, the will to push through any obstacle that's thrown in front of your face, you will be able to knock that motherfucker down so hard, and anything that comes in your life will not even be able to stop you, not one bit. There will be no doubt. There will be no second guessing or questioning any of your abilities that God gave you to be great. And as long as you know that, anything and everyone that you approach in life, you will approach it as an equal, and you will approach it with greatness. And as long as you approach it that way, so shall you receive that greatness that you give out. That's what I want you to leave with today.
Nice. I think that's great. I think a lot of good food for thought for everybody in this episode. Hopefully a lot of you guys listening to this, you get something out of it. You feel like, some good stuff has been kind of, put into your minds and whatnot. But Gerard, thank you. As always, it's always a pleasure chatting it up with you, hanging out and stuff. I think this was a dope episode.
Yo, love you, bro. You already know what it is, man. Of course it's a dope episode, man. Your show is hot. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing my thing on here. Like, we good, man. So thank you so much for having me always. One thing, I never take it for granted. And that's another thing I want to tell people. I don't care if you get as big as Jay-Z, like we said earlier. You know what I'm saying? Never, ever, ever in your life, start taking things, people, even yourself. Don't take it for granted. Because just as hard you worked hard to get it, it can all be taken away just like that. Believe me. So always, always, always show gratitude and humbleness and love to everyone, even if you feel they don't deserve it. Even if somebody did you wrong, it doesn't matter what they do. It's all about what you do. You understand what I'm saying? And it's all about the way you respond that builds character. So in order to truly, truly make it and be successful in life, it all starts with character and who you are. Everything else will follow suit. Okay? So one love and God bless, and thanks for having me on the show, man.
Yeah, of course, man. It was awesome. Where can everybody find you right now? You're on Twitter. Okay, you're at...
Yo, I'm everywhere, son. Yo, I'll make it easier. Google Hip Hop Gamer, and you'll find everything you need. That's it.
But I know you're on Twitter, you're on YouTube, you're on Hot 97 as well, all over the place. You're on Facebook, you're on Instagram, you're on Snapchat.
Everything Hip Hop Gamer.
Everything is at Hip Hop Gamer. They're gonna be
everything at Hip Hop Gamer. Yep.
There's gonna be links in the description box below for you guys. Again, if you're listening to this on YouTube, or again if you're listening to this over iTunes and stuff, there'll be links on the post on the Koalition website all over the place, so you guys can check out his content, check out all the shows, check out all the cool stuff. Gerard's been posting up all over the place and whatnot. So again, Gerard, thank you for being on this episode. Again, always a pleasure. Hopefully, quick question: are you gonna be at PSX this year? Am I seeing you at PSX?
Oh man, I don't know. I doubt it.
Sony show. You're gonna miss a PlayStation show?
Yeah. If I'm missing a PlayStation show, obviously I'm working on some other things. You know what I'm saying? But I've never been to PSX yet. I'm like kicking myself in the head for it because I really want to go. But timing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just the time of the year and certain situations, and when you grinding to get certain things, you gotta make some sacrifices along the way. So that's just what happens.
One show you won't miss, and that's E3. I'm definitely
hell no, I ain't missing E3, baby. I'm ready for E3 right now, son.
I'm ready. This is gonna be so.
I'm ready right now, son.
E3 2018 is gonna be dope. But again, thank you guys for listening to this episode. Make sure that you guys leave a like on this video. Subscribe to the Koalition's YouTube channel for all our videos and episodes of TK Spotlight, our unboxing videos, and our other podcast shows for you guys to enjoy on the channel. Don't forget to leave me a comment down below. Give me your guys' opinions and thoughts on this episode, and leave me suggestions of guests that you guys want me to bring onto the show. So with that being said, we will talk to you guys again very soon. Peace out. And stay epic, everybody.
This is Hot 97, Hip Hop Gamer, the home of hip hop. Got it locked every era. Make your head nod, make your head nod. One love, one God.